we are so thrilled to have you here. I'm going to tell you right now, our speaker's not on yet, so I'm constantly looking for him. He'll be joining us, I'm confident. But normally we have our speaker at this point, so we're scanning to make sure he gets here. But I'm going to start with a few announcements. Thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year. We've got big plans this year for topics and tactics and all things employment first. We're excited to have you all on this journey with us. If this is your first time joining us, Employment First Topics and Tactics is our monthly webinar series that is designed to equip job professionals, job seekers, advocates, and all partners with tools and strategies to help advance Employment First principles in Arizona. We do have live captioning today. To access your live captions, please click on the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen. If you have any accessibility issues or you need anything during the meeting, please message the Sonoran Center person in the chat. Ava's there to help take care of you. I also want to remind anyone speaking to try not to speak too quickly so that our captioner is able to keep up with what we say. I often speak too quickly, so I try to be mindful of that. We like to offer a land acknowledgement as we start every session. So we respectfully acknowledge that the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of Indigenous peoples. Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to the Tohono O'odham and the Yaqui. We are grateful to be on this land, and we pay our respects to the elders past and present. We also want to acknowledge that Arizona Vocational Rehabilitation, or VR, is our funder for the Arizona Employment First Initiative and this monthly series. So we thank Voc Rehab for all their support in promoting competitive integrated employment outcomes for all people. We want to remind you that we do this every month. We have all sorts of great topics lined up this year. So please register for all of our sessions and continue to join us. If you're ever not able to join us, we post almost all of these recordings on our website. So if you have a conflict, you can catch it when it's more convenient for your schedule. I have a couple quick housekeeping announcements to share. I want to make an announcement that I think will be news to a lot of you. That with funding from the Developmental Disabilities Planning Council, the Employment First Initiative, and Arizona APSE are imminently going to launch a pilot fund that will help support professionals who want to obtain their CESP, Certified Employment Services Provider, credential. So any moment now, we're going to be sharing the application. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. Reach out to me if you have questions or you need any information. And when you receive it, share it with others. We are very excited at the opportunity to help more professionals obtain credentials in employment services. So that's just something we want you all to be aware of. And our second announcement is that here at the Employment First Initiative, we are actively seeking stories related to self-employment. So if you are an entrepreneur with disabilities, or you've supported entrepreneurs with disabilities, or you just frequent their businesses, whatever the experience is, we would love to hear about it. So if you're connected to any groups or individuals or networks, feel free to connect us and send people our way as we look to collect those stories. And now I want to do a quick check and see, is Nicholas with us, friends?
I haven't seen him yet. I have been watching, but I haven't seen him pop
Okay.
in yet.
Well, I really hope he gets here soon. Um, if not, I have his presentation and we can get it started because I know you guys are all excited to hear about the impact of work on benefits. So I'm going to start with Nicholas's bio and I hope that he hops on any moment. So Nicholas Love, who we're all eagerly waiting for, is a longtime colleague and very dear friend of mine, Reverend Nicholas Love. I think a lot of you have probably heard him speak. He is a nationally recognized subject matter expert on all things disability employment and the impact of work on benefits. For over 3 decades, he has spoken and educated nationally as an advocate for diversity and social justice as part of his path to change cultural perceptions. He is currently a consultant founding an organization called SPICE, which offers a holistic approach to recommendations, technical assistance, and training to guide organizations and elevate their services. Reverend Nicholas consistently prioritizes people who are often left behind in a society that overlooks them. And what my notes say is we're thrilled to have Reverend Nicholas with us, and I'm not sure if he's with us yet, but we're going to be thrilled when he gets here. And we're going to be talking about Social Security benefits with truth and confidence. So at this point, my goal would be to turn it over to him if he's here. And if not, I'm going to start his presentation. And I'm sorry you're going to have to listen to my awful football screaming voice. So I'm going to get this started. When he gets here, he can take it over because he does it better than I do. So hopefully you're seeing the screen. That's the last slide. That's not the one you guys want. You're all seeing my screens?
Yes.
Okay. When he gets here, someone let me know because I am not going to be able to see it. But we invited Reverend Nicholas here today. I'm hoping that one of his cats didn't trip him. That's what I'm expecting to hear when he shows up to talk about the impact of work on benefits. Because as many of you know, that's his expertise and he is fantastic at it. So he did prepare this presentation for you. Um, and one of the most important things to realize in any presentation you ever attend on this topic is that the numbers can change. So we will post this PowerPoint once we've made it accessible, along with the recording of this video on our website, and it will be there. But in a year, when it's 2027, the numbers aren't going to be the same. And sometimes folks forget that on January 1st, a lot of the numbers that impact all of this change, and we get new information from the federal government. So whenever you're looking at an old presentation on this topic, be aware of the date and be aware that you may need to seek out some updated information related to some of the numbers. I also know, because I've worked with Nicholas so long, that he put a lot of detail into this slide deck, and his intention was not to go over every bit of detail for you, but he's aware that you'll all have access to it. So the intention is always that there are resources for you to continue to use following these presentations. And that's what this slide deck is. So if we don't go into detail on something because of time, you'll still have the information once we get the slide deck posted. This deck is based on Social Security Administration's disability benefits basic information. This is a complicated topic. A lot of you may sit here and try to think through some of your clients' individual circumstances, or if you're someone receiving benefits, you may be immediately trying to apply things to your individual circumstance. This is a complicated topic. So the intent is to provide you the resources, um, the basic resources, so that then you can seek out the details that you need to find. Okay. There's a reference. Oh, I see Nicholas is coming. Yay! I'm going to stop now because I see that he's joining us. I'm going to stop my screen share, and you guys have to tell him I started off really well.
Thank you.
So,
I'm sure. My
welcome.
my deepest apologies for being late. Let me just pull up that slide.
I was still on that first one.
Yes,
So
great. Thank you
you didn't hear
so.
the great introduction that I gave to you, but
Oh,
I
I'm
did.
sure it was fabulous, my dear friend. All right. So as Gina has stated, um, about the disclaimer, did you do the whole slide?
No, that's all I was at, like that second or third bullet
Oh,
point. Are you able to
fabulous.
share? Do we need to give you permission?
Let me see if you're allowing me to share because I got my screen up. Share. There we go. We're sharing.
Okay, great.
All right. Hello, everyone. My apologies for not knowing how to tell time today. Okay, so we are working on the 2026 numbers. They change every January. So these are the numbers for this year. You will be getting this PowerPoint if Gina didn't tell you, and that way you can update it for next year. I'm not going to cover all the information in the deck. I like to give you as much information as you need, so you're going to get more than I'm going to be able to cover because I prefer to be able to answer questions and give some basic information. Um, so, if you need more information, you can easily go to Arizona DB 101, Disability Benefits 101, and I have that website there for you. That has all information that's going to pertain to helping people move towards employment. And if you need even more help, you can hit the Get Help button on AZDB 101 or contact the Work Incentive Consultants directly, and that phone number is on the Get Help. So let's get into this. Um, Great. Thank you. Just check in the chat. So we're going to start with SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income. Supplemental Security Income supplements the income people don't have for their basic needs. It's for people with no or little work history who have low resources or low income. It is based on a financial need for aid. So it's based on the income that the person receives, zero to whatever, and their living situation. The maximum payment someone can receive on SSI is $994 for an individual. And if there's a couple, it's $1,491 if both couples are receiving SSI. Additionally, there's a resource limit because you have the need for aid. You have to show the fact that you need that aid. So the resource limit is $2,000 and it's $3,000 for a couple. When you receive SSI, you get Medicaid. In Arizona, that is Altex. I'm sorry, not Altex. It's Access. All our acronyms, right? It's Access. And if an individual is receiving SSI, this is very important, has no dependents, it's just the individual, they are always, always going to make more money going to work. There is no way for them not to make more money going to work due to the rules and common math. There are work incentives that help people actually make a little bit more money. They're listed here. There's the main thing of why someone will always have more money is the 2-for-1 reduction. Now, we're talking about people who are living in poverty. So people at SSI are living in poverty. They're living about 24% below the federal poverty level. And if you tell somebody you're going to reduce their benefits, they're going to say, no way. So instead of saying 2-for-1 reductions, I like to say it this way. For every $2 you earn, you get to keep $1 of your SSI cash benefits. That way you're hearing the word earn and keep. So these are the messages we really want to help people with. So how do you help make even more money when you're on SSI? You use what's called impairment related work expenses. These are expenses individuals have due to their disability to go to work. So hearing aids, medications, all of those things that they have due to their disability, they can use as an impairment rated work expense. They must be approved by Social Security. But there's a whole process explained in DB 101 for this so that you can actually help pay for things they need to go to work, such as medications, doctor visits, glasses, etc. Speaking of glasses, if a person is blind, the majority of their work expenses will be paid. There are different rules for people who are blind. That is the only disability that has different rules. Additionally, if you have individuals who are under the age of 22, if you're working with youth, this is important. It's a student earned income exclusions. Students under the age of 22 in school at least half-time is explained in DB 101, they can earn up to $2,410 monthly without losing any of their SSI payment or their access. There's an annual cap of $9,730. And if you go above that cap, the additional money is done as a 2-for-1 reduction. For every $2 you earn, you get to keep $1 of your check. So this helps people earn more money. So I like to create things to help people think. So this is an upward moment. So you're starting at the bottom here of this mnemonic. It is supplemental security income, supplements income people do not have for their securing their basic needs. It's based on the financial need for aid. Thus, they must show the need for aid through the resource limit of $2,000. And if there is a need for aid, the person gets Medicaid, right? And then adjust on the financial needs. So supplemental security supplements the income people do not have for basic needs. If they have a need for aid, they get Medicaid. If they have to show that need for aid, they have resources limits. Okay? That helps people remember things, in my opinion. But we also want to say, how do we help create career goals? So if somebody's on SSI or very low SSDI benefits, they may qualify for a plan to achieve self-support or a PASS plan where people can set aside income and resources to achieve a specific work or educational goal without affecting their benefits. So it's a separate account. They have a very strict plan. DB 101 will talk you through that full plan. And what they can do, they can use this for their assistive technology. Maybe they need an iPad to help with communication or remembering things like, I don't know, maybe that they have a presentation at 10 and not noon. Additionally, helps with education. Maybe they need additional schooling, trade school, work supplies, right? But what they can really use it for? Starting their own business, which would be awesome if we had more people starting their own business, getting out there, creating their own space rules and providing. Majority of America is actually based on mom and pop shops. Why not have them run by people with disabilities? So that's SSI and people on low SSDI. So then we move to SSDI. SSDI, Social Security Disability Insurance. It's exactly what it says. It's social insurance. It is for people who have a work history. When you pay your FICA out of your paycheck, that payment is actually your premium for your social insurance. So it's based on how much has been paid in, but it also can be based on a spouse or a parent's benefits. When you receive SSDI, you receive Medicare. And you receive the cash benefits or not based on the earnings and the phase of work. And of course, there are different rules for each phase, which I'll show you in a minute, and it's an all or nothing. Okay, so let's move forward for 1 second. These are the rules to help with the phase of work. First thing you have is what's called a trial work period, 9 months in a 5-year rolling window, where you get full cash benefits no matter how much you earn. So it's like a test, right? It's trial work period. So people could be earning $1,000. I'm sorry, let me say this better because we just changed the earnings. It's January, we got to get used to the new earnings. A trial work period's triggered by earnings over 1,210. So if somebody is making $1,300, they get their full benefits. If somebody's making $13,000, they get their full benefits. And that happens for 9 months within a 5-year window. If they don't use it within that 5 year, it kind of drops off and comes back around, rolling window. Then you move in the phase of what's called the extended period of eligibility, which is 36 months after your trial work period, where you either get your cash benefits or not, depending on if you're making substantial gainful activity. Substantial gainful activity in 2026 is 1,690 right here, unless you're blind. Remember, blind has different rules, so that means they can earn 2,830. But it's not just a number, right? It's like, are they making enough to substantially show they can make money? Are they making enough to make a living? By the way, not enough to make a living right here. So they consider other things. They consider, again, impairment related work expenses, something somebody is paying out of their pocket to go to work due to their disability. They also have what's called a wage subsidy or special conditions. This is where somebody else is paying to help. So maybe a special condition could be that they have lower productivity than somebody else. It could be they have increased supervisions. It could be job coaching. So say every morning a job coach comes in and for an hour works with them setting up their schedule for the day. That time is considered a wage subsidy and not considered income. Also, customized employment, very, very important. Working very hard in Arizona on customized employment. Those can be considered special conditions or wage subsidies. And it affects how much money is considered income. All confusing, so I show you a little graph diagram. I don't know what I would call this, but in the middle in the orange, you have substantial gainful activity threshold. It's 1,690 if you're not blind, 2,830 if you are. So if somebody is earning above substantial gainful activity after the deduction of impairment-related work expenses or subsidies, they make above, no check. They make below, they get a check. And this happens for that 36 months of extended period of eligibility. Here is my mnemonic for that. So SSDI is social insurance. Your FICA is your premium you're paying for that social insurance. Your cash payment received is based on the shared paid into the trust. You're paying into Social Security's trust. You're paying your fair share. If you pay your share, Social Security doesn't care about your resources. If Social Security doesn't care, you get Medicare. So Social Security disability insurance, social insurance, FICA pays your premium, therefore you paid your share. If you paid your share, Social Security does not care about your resources, and if they don't care, you get Medicare. That's how I remember these things. Additionally, we worry about healthcare, right? Healthcare and work, like that's the biggest issue. In Arizona, that is not really an issue because Arizona does something wonderful when it comes to work and healthcare. So if you receive SSI, right, you're getting your access, which is your Medicaid, right? When, I like when better because it's more positive. When someone's income goes to zero because every $2 they earn, they get to keep one. Eventually their earnings get so much that they have zero check. That doesn't mean they lose their Medicaid. No, they go into what's called 1619B, a very exciting title, which means, hey, your cash benefits stop, but you still keep Medicaid. That's all it means. If you have Medicare, if you have SSDI, you have Medicare, right? Your Medicare can go on for more than 8 years even after you start working. So you have plenty of time to make a plan. And in Arizona, we have what's called access freedom to work. Access freedom work can be used for SSI and SSDI. I should have put that bullet down there. My apologies. But they both receive the ability to use access freedom work, which means you can buy into Medicaid. So you can have Medicare, go to work, and buy into Medicaid for no more than $35 a month. That's it. And there's an extremely high level of earnings. It's over 76. I don't know what it is this year. It changes in April. So you can have Medicaid, Medicare, and you can still have employer-sponsored health care all at the same time. And if none of these work for you, we still have individual healthcare through healthcare.gov. So healthcare, not an issue in Arizona. He takes one breath and says, we have ways to also get around those pesky SSI resource limits. So this can be used for both SSI and SSDI as well, which is an ABLE account, achieving a better life experience. This is not about just what does the government say you could have. It's about achieving a better life experience. Now, this allows you to save up to $1,000. I'm sorry, $100,000 instead of 2,000. So you can save up to $100,000 without affecting any resource limits or financial need programs like SNAP or housing. So it's for both SSI and SSDI, will not affect any of your benefits. And as of this year, which is why 46 is in a highlighted color, is for people with a disability onset prior to the age of 46. So that just changed on January 1st from 26 years of age to 46 years of age to help with veterans. So if somebody then has a disability onset, like I'm 57, my disability onset was birth, so it's before the age of 46, I could use an ABLE account. Um, you have the ability to have $20,000 annually contributed into that ABLE account. That just went up. And if somebody is working, they can contribute an additional 15,650 of their work income. Accounts can be open in other states. It doesn't just have to be Arizona. Different states have different rules. Arizona, though, is very liberal on what it means to achieve a better life experience. It is everything from your rent to your toilet paper, from your Netflix to whatever you like to do as a hobby. Okay. So it's achieving a better life experience. There's a couple things you can't do. We won't go in. It's like gambling and drugs and other things. Um, Now, I don't receive benefits. So why would I open an ABLE account at 57 years old? Well, what if I need to apply for benefits? And maybe I have low income and I'm applying for SSI and I have resource limit of $2,000 to apply for that. But I have a lot of money. I can take that money, put it into an ABLE account, and now it's not a resource. Now I can apply for benefits. So you can open an account by preparing and applying. That is all I have to say because I want this really to be an opportunity to ask questions. And I talked really fast, I know. So if we need to back up, I will. If we need to ask additional questions that were not on the slides, this is your time to learn and ask what you want to know. Before we go into that, here's all the thank you stuff. Um, who I am, which Gina told you, Reverend Nicholas Love. I am owner of the independent consulting Spice, which is social progress, includes comment efforts, and you can go to my website right there on that happy little QR. Go ahead, Jenna, take a drink. Take a drink for both of us, honey, because that was just whoo. So, do we have questions?
I know we do. You all can raise your hand. You can type in the chat. You could just unmute yourself, I think. We're pretty easy here. So
Yeah, I just want this really to be a conversation more. I went really fast, first off, because I was stressed out. My anxiety was high because I was late. Um, and Gina called me and I was like, oh, text her back. I'm fine. It's great. I'm ready. She's like, so
I
what do
want
we,
to note,
what do you
Michael
know?
put a note in the chat that currently there is a $25 incentive available if someone is opening an ABLE account.
Oh,
Is that
yeah.
for the first time type of thing?
Yes, I didn't go deep into it. Yes. You get a $25 incentive. I think it's $50 to, or maybe it's 25 to start your account, but you have 6 months to even put that money in. So it's not like you have to have like a lot of money to start an ABLE account. You put in $50 and you no longer have a $2,000 resource limit. Like that's fabulous. You know what I mean? Also, talking about resource limits. If somebody, this is very important, if somebody has SSI and they have that resource limit and they go to work, doesn't matter how many hours they're working. They could work 5 hours a week, 5 hours a month. As long as they're paying FICA, they can apply for access freedom to work. When you have access freedom to work, Medicaid buy-in in Arizona, you don't have a resource limit. Access freedom to work in Arizona is fabulous. It is also a way to keep your all tax. So within people who are receiving all tax, say intellectual and developmental in the DD system, if they are being told, please, I hope this is still not happening, being told that they need to cut their hours or they're going to lose their all tax or their housing, that's not true. That is, we just never ever tell people to ever cut their hours. We give them the information, let them make the decisions. We are an employment first state. Don't tell people don't go to work, right? So you can just get access free in the work. And matter of fact, it's supposed to be automatic. People who receive all tax if they go to work should be going into access free in work. Sometimes we don't actually get to our full rules when we need to. So check on that. Make sure we keep access aware of what's happening so that people can go to work, have no resource limit, and keep those long-term services. Very, very important, right? This is how we get people to work.
So Bill has his hand up, and then there's some questions in the
Oh,
chat, but
good, because
Bill's
I
had
can't
his
see
hand.
any of that.
Oh,
Bill.
go ahead, Bill.
Good morning, Nicholas, my good friend. What a
Oh,
great
it's Bill.
presentation. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Hey, I just wanted to mention something that I ran into in the past with a member on the PASS plan. Is it not true? They have to have a specific goal, right, that they're going to spend that money on, correct? Like, say, a lot of people might want to buy a car in Arizona because we have such terrible transportation here. And they have to stick to that goal, right?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a past plan has to be a specific goal. They can only use the money in the past plan account for that goal. It needs to be approved by a past cadre.
Yeah.
And the goal, long-term goal must be to get off of benefits.
Yeah.
So that is a thing. Now, a car is a really tricky thing, but people have done it. It is possible, especially, hey, if you want to be an Uber driver, you kind of need a car, right? But additionally, if you live in a more rural area when we don't have the ability to use any type of public transportation, or you can prove that public transportation has not been successful for this person, you could use it for a car. It's just a
Great.
lot harder.
Yeah.
On DB 101, there is a section on past plans, and it not only explains it in great detail, there are examples, there is the application itself, and if you need additional help, anyone can do a past plan. You can do it on your own, you can do it with a case manager, vocational rehab, but if you need additional support, the benefit counselors at Ability 360 who manage the full benefit counseling for the state, they can help you with a past plan.
Nice.
So you got free help right there for you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
so
Bill.
just to kind of educate some of our colleagues on here, I had a member, he had a great plan. He actually, they passed him, or I should say, approved his
Mhm.
application for a car. He unfortunately at the time was homeless, and he got an apartment through a housing authority, and but it had no furniture. And so he
Mm,
took money out of his past plan, and unfortunately buying furniture wasn't in his goal. And so
mhm.
what happens is it becomes countable income. And so he lost 2 months' checks based on the amount he
Yes.
took out. So I just want to warn everybody that, you got to make sure, just inform the people they have to stick to their plan, whatever their original plan was.
Yes.
And
Thank
thank
you, though.
you
But I'm
so
glad he got
much.
approved for a car because that's hard. But thank you
Yeah.
for that. That's a tale of warning. Thank you, Bill.
Rebecca in the chat is asking you to put your website address in the chat, and we will post this PowerPoint on our website. It should be there hopefully within the week or so, guys, so
So
you can have all that.
the website is like a really ridiculously long, because it's Canva and they make it up. So if you actually go scan the website, or if you email me, I'll send it. But if you click on the website VR, this code, um, when you're not in the end, here, let me end the show. Hang on. If you click in here, I do
You're
this.
not sharing your screen right now
Why not?
because you stopped sharing your screen
I
when you
did
got through
not.
the
Okay.
presentation.
Gosh, hang on one moment. Oh, come
Put your
on.
email in the chat though, Nicholas. That would be good.
I want to know why this isn't sharing anymore. What happened? I don't
That
have
I don't
any of
know.
my Zoom stuff available all of a sudden.
Put your email in the chat. That'll work. Okay, I'm going to the next question.
Go ahead.
Stephanie asked, what materials are available for consumers that are user friendly? The DB101 calculator is great, but the information is overwhelming for consumers and families.
Then help
And
them.
then I'm going to add that then Casey said, what's a DB101 calculator? So you might want to do that whole
Okay,
thing.
so hang on one second. I'm
And
trying to get back into you, Gina. I'm
oh,
not having any of my controls suddenly.
I didn't take them from you.
I know, it's so strange. Okay, are we sharing again?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna handle both of these at once. Okay, let me go back to if you click into the QR code when you're not in the presentation and you go to your alt text, I have the whole code in there. That's the long thing. So I'm gonna copy that long thing, and I'm gonna put it in the chat for you. And I'm gonna put my email in there. And I'm going to show you DB101 in just 1 second. DB101 disability benefits are, where's my chat? Oh my God, have mercy. Okay. DB101 is I did not mean to hit that. Okay. DB101 is a user-friendly website that allows you, there's that, and I can't do both at once, people. Give me 1 second.
And just so you know, you're still sharing the PowerPoint. That's what we're still seeing.
Yes, and I'm typing
Okay.
into the chat.
Oh, okay.
So I'm trying to do both at one time, which is why I'm having a challenge because I'm saying one word and typing another. Okay. DB101. I'm going to go in here. You're going to get into my whole real world right here. Is a website that allows individuals to find all the information and more about benefits in Arizona, specific to Arizona. We've had it since 2012. There it is. Please tell me I'm sharing.
Yes.
It worked this time. Oh, I'm so excited. So you can go in there, and what they have is they have a calculator, goes past our videos to tell you how to do stuff, learning about the different programs. And we have these calculators. We have one for people who are receiving both SSI and or SSDI, and one for young people. You can go in, and yes, there's a lot of a lot of things it covers. There's some questions that might be overwhelming for some people. That is why it's very important for providers to learn about DB101. There are trainings, 9 trainings a month. These are still happening, right, Gina?
Yes, a year.
Not,
As far as
not,
I know, they are. 9 a month would be a lot.
yeah, 9 a year. I don't know. I've done 9 a month. I don't know. People can do it. Gina and I used to do these presentations, and that's why we were questioning because we don't work for this website anymore. But Arizona Vocational Rehab pays for it. It's fabulous. It's great. They pay for trainings for providers to go through. You can go through that. You can go to the Get Help button and learn more. You can learn when the presentations are coming up. I know that a lot of people share them out within their own websites and emails and whatever. But you can go here and you can ask for help to go through it, to learn it. An individual can get additional help. If a provider asked for more help on it from the Get Help button from Ability 360, they're going to tell you to go to a training. But an individual, if they need more help, they can get it there. Providers should know how to use this, specifically if they're using Medicaid money for employment services. They have a competency to understand how to use the calculators to do this. So that is what they are. Additionally, I'm going to give you a little tip that they train you in. If I go to the programs I'm in now, and we're like SSI and stuff, you can go to SSI, go to SSI and work. Because what do you want to know? What's going to happen to my SSI? I go to work. You go down to this little try estimator. You can do a small little mini estimator. All you got to know is your benefits. Are you blind or not? Because different rules. Are you under age 22 or not? And if you're in school, if you say yes, it's going to ask you if school have time. If you don't know what that means, guess what? They're going to tell you that in it. You click that button, yes or no. I'm going to say they're not. Have you worked in the last couple months? So it's 2 months behind. And how much you're going to earn. Right? So you go down here, what's your plan? Help me calculate this. You go in and you say, okay, what is your expected hour wage? They're going to make $15 an hour. How much per hour? Tips, right? They're going to work 25 hours. We're going to say, yes, I did not put in how much benefits. So I'm going to go back up here and put that in. What is it? 954. I can't remember because it's brand new. Say continue. It's going to tell you what's going to happen to your benefits right there. You're still receiving your check. For every $2 earned, you can keep one. They're keeping $180.88, but they now have $1,812. So that's how you use a calculator. It is very simple. And if it's challenging for the individual, then you help the individual out. Okay.
Okay, the next question in the chat, Casey said, for youth under 18 to qualify, is the income limit based off their parents?
Yes. So if a youth under the age of 18 is not expected to have income because, mom and dad or parent guardians should be paying for their children. So what it happens when you apply as a youth for SSI benefits, that's what they're going to receive unless their parents deceased or retired, they could receive SSDI off of that. So for a youth, it is based on the parents' income and resources. So that whole family must be living in poverty, right?
Yes, it is.
And Michael, you're muted.
I think he's talking to somebody else.
Hold on just 1 second, please.
Michael, you want to mute? Michael, mute yourself, sweetie. I don't think he did. He went away. Okay. Oh, he muted himself. Fabulous. Okay. So it's based on a parent, right? No matter how significant that disability is for that child, if those parents have over $2,000 or even 2 cars, that child will not qualify for benefits. Once they turn 18, there's a redetermination. And if they didn't get approved earlier, they can get approved now because now it's based on them as an adult and their income and resources, even if they live at home. If they live at home, they're going to look at it as deemed income, which means, hey, somebody else is help paying for housing and some basic needs. Write up a rental agreement with the parents saying that I'm renting a space to my child and then actually rent it. It's not just a fake letter, right? Bill told you got to do it by the rules, right? So you write up a rental agreement saying I'm renting this to my adult child for the same amount I would rent it to anyone else. And now that child is paying the rent, even if the rent is $100, which is totally unheard of in Arizona, right? But they pay the rent. That means they're no longer deemed, which means they can earn the full benefits. I hope that helps, CC. There's a whole section on youth in DB 101, though, to help you out, chick. And also those benefit counselors are there for you. What's our next question?
The next question is from Celeste, and she says, how do people apply for trial work period, or is it automatically started when they get a job?
All right, it's automatic started when they get a job. The thing is, though, Social Security doesn't know that. They don't know they started. How would they know, right? So you got to report to Social Security, there's been a change. Now, when people receive Social Security benefits, SSI or SSDI, they make a commitment to keep Social Security informed of any changes, where they live, their income, all of that. So when they go to work, you need to report that. If you don't know how to report it in DB, I'm going to say DB 101 1,000 times because that is the tool, people. It has everything you ever thought of about benefits and employment in one happy spot because vocational rehab is dedicated so much money to it and continues. Thank you very much. So you can go in there and learn more, or you can do both. Go to a benefit counselor. They are free. They are covering the full state and they have a priority, right? Their priority is people must be attempting to go to work, actively seeking or in a job, unless they're a young person. They are a priority and a vet. So vets and young people, send them directly to the Work Incentive Planning and Assistance through the Get Help button on DB 101. It's at Ability 360. It covers the full state and they provide free benefit counseling. So you got to help people. You're never alone. You do not have to become a benefit counselor to do this work. You got to click and read to do this work. It is really simple. And when it gets complicated, you don't go into the weeds. That's not your job. Your job is to help provide resources, know a little bit about DB 101, and refer, right? So send them to a benefit counselor. If you would like to become a benefit counselor, I would like to say, God help you. But there are classes you can take. Gina took a class on being a community partner. Wasn't it fun, Gina?
Fun might not be the word, but it was very informative.
So you can take classes if you choose. If you want to do someone else's job for the same pay, hey, knock yourself out, but refer. Don't get into the weeds. What else?
I think that's a very good point, though, and DB 101 helps with the basic. That's really the point, is that all of us as professionals need that base understanding of truth and not truth. And then we
So
can get people where they need to be.
in DB 101, there is a section called Getting Past the Myth, and it pretty much is a script of how to talk to people about it. Oh, I was told my friend lost everything because he went to work and lost his health care. Well, that's really not true. Let me help you understand what really happens, right? The most time people lose their benefits is because they didn't follow the rules. Or more likely, Social Security didn't follow their rules and or they're understaffed. They don't have people, and the people that are filing the stuff are not trained on work incentives, which is why Social Security pays people to learn benefits, which is what they do for this work incentive planning and assistance. I used to manage it for the state. It's complex, but we worked with everyone we could and did. They still do monthly presentations to explain this to people. But we didn't have DB 101 back then. It is literally everything you need. And it gets you to how to apply. It gets you to the rules. It gets you to, I have helped people use it to help Social Security and Access understand that they made a mistake. It's a great tool. I mean, I could not speak highly of it at all.
In the
Yes.
chat, Michael shared, and Michael, you can put a link in if you want, that the ADTPC, the Arizona Developmental Disabilities Planning Council, has a resource called Pathways to the Future. It's written in plain language and it highlights ABLE accounts as well as DB 101. And he said he'll share it with me. So, yes, please do. And we'll post it on the website with the resources from today's discussion. But we feel free to throw a link in the chat as well, Michael. And then
Thank you,
Nicole,
Michael.
who had to leave, said that she's seen this presentation before and she still learns something new every time that she's ready to go share with families. So she
Thank
says,
you.
thank you.
When Gina and I did these trainings, we would have providers that came to almost every one of our trainings because it's so much to take in that you can't focus on it all at one time. So what I really have always recommended from the time we received DB 101, and I started doing these trainings in 2012. Oh my God, I've been doing this forever. And that's the only reason I can rattle this stuff off, people. Nobody taught me this, is I went in, I learned myself because DB 101 is so easy. It is plain language as much as we can do plain language for Social Security. I mean, somebody should really give Social Security a dictionary and a thesaurus, but what we really need to do is go in there. If you spent an hour today, that means you could spend a half hour a month. Put on your calendar, say, I'm in training, and go into a section in DB 101 and just read it, play with it, experience it. It's not going to hurt anyone by you doing that. What does hurt is giving false or no information. That hurts people. Um, I find it interesting. People have said, well, what if I get it wrong in DB 101? Well, you know what? What if you get it wrong in your job? We in the psych world have no problem telling people take meds, but know not a damn thing about the side effects, right? We have no problem telling people how to live their lives. That job is not right for you. There's no way you could do it. We provide false hope or false lack of hope. That's what I want to say. False lack of hope where we can go to DB 101, learn the right way, learn the words, and help people. Just knowing that DB 101 exists, telling people you can go to work. Yes, there might be an impact on your benefits. Let's see what it is. And if you're not comfortable with it, learn it or get somebody who is to do it with them. No, you're not going to lose your health care right away. There are rules in Arizona to help you keep your health care. You may even get more health care by going to work. If somebody was on Medicare, SSDI, and they went to work and then bought into Freedom to Work and then had employer health care, they now have 3 types of insurance. They didn't lose a thing, right? We just have to say, you can go to work. I may not have all the answers, but let's find out together. That is a simple statement you can do because your job is to help people go to work. I don't care what your title is. I don't care if you're a receptionist at the front desk. Your job is to help people become successful in employment because success in employment equals success in community inclusion. It's the way to break down the barriers, the stereotypes, and all the negativity that comes along with being a disabled individual. Gina sends love because this is a message that we live and breathe every moment of our lives.
Yeah, I want to say it again, and you've said it. We are, apologies for my dogs barking. We are the professionals, and we need to never tell people to limit their hours. We need to never tell people to not take a promotion. We need to always encourage work, focus on work, promote work, and use these tools and resources to help people see what's possible. And as a system, we're not doing that. Those false messages are still so prevalent, um, and it harms people. It harms people's outcomes.
I have been teaching and preaching, hence Reverend Nicholas Love. It's a church of employment today. I have been doing this since 2010. And actually, I've been doing employment services well before that, but actually talking and educating on benefits since 2010, well before I became a benefit counselor, because I knew it was important to know these rules because these rules have been around since 1999 and we are still getting it wrong. Michael's sharing resources, Employment First is sharing resources, DB 101 shares resources. I'm Employment First. The Sonora you said is for sharing resources. There are people out there. We're coming together to share accurate information because it's important. It is what we do. You do not want, you worry about screwing up someone's life. Telling people they can't go to work is damning them to poverty. Do we have another question or are we just all cheering right now?
I think that's it now. So I want to do a plug for myself. Sorry, everybody. When you leave the session, a survey is going to open. And as I just wrapped up my last quarter report. We don't get great participation rates in the survey. Please take the survey. We really want good participation rates. I also want to point out that this topic of benefits in work, it comes from you all and the messaging you give us through your emails, through your engagement in the various activities we're doing. So continue to let us know what you need, and we will continue to provide the content to answer those questions. And thank you, Reverend Nicholas, for being here this morning, and thank you all for being here this morning.
Hey, you're welcome. And if anybody would like additional support and stuff, you will have my stuff within my information within the PowerPoint, and you can reach out to me, and I put it into the chat as well. Or you can contact Gina, and Gina will just give you all my personal information. But
I
my
will,
dear,
like, address, whatever you guys need.
thank you so much. Again, my apologies for being a little tardy myself and forgetting what the heck I was doing today. I had it scheduled differently in my calendar. I apologize. Again, people with disabilities need additional support. That would be and I will do better as I move forward. Thank you.
Thank you all. There's just a lot of love in the chat, so
I'm
it's
seeing
good.
that. Thank
All
you.
the old
All
friends.
right.
Have a good week, everybody. What a great way to start the week, Nicholas. Thank you.